Hello everyone, it's Gojo4 with you once again. How you guys doing? Just wanted to do a pretty simple Hobbit Battle of Five Armies review. Let's just get down to the nitty gritty. So for those of you guys who haven't seen The Hobbit or read the book, I would just, I don't really know what to tell you. I can't really say anything. You pretty much shouldn't be watching this, because honestly I'm going to spoil the other movies for you. So this is the story of, Bilbo and the 12 dwarves have finally gotten to the great mountain of Erebor, the ancient dwarven hall, and they're going to take it back. And, oh, by the way, Smaug got out, and he's attacking shit. And, and by the way, then there are orcs on their way, and shit just gets worse and worse, and then the elves get pissed at them, and then the humans fight them, but then the dwarves show up with their own army, and then there's a giant orc army coming in to try and kill them, and quite a lot of action and fighting. And, what else do you expect with a movie called The Battle of Five Armies? And having read, the book, well, I actually read the graphic novel, but it pretty much follows the book. So I kind of knew what to expect. And so I generally knew the story, but if you have read the book, these movies really deviate from, well, they don't deviate from The Hobbit, but they add in a bunch of stuff. Spoiler alert, if you haven't read the book yet, Legolas is not in the book. That is number one. Legolas was added into the movies. So there's just a lot of stuff that's been added in. Azog, the main orc bad guy, he's from the appendices, he's not in the book. So there's just a lot of stuff they got in, which is cool. It has that Peter Jackson style. So what did I think of it? That's what's important here. Like I said, it just starts off right into it. It literally just starts off with Smaug attacking the village after he'd been released in the last film. Spoiler, sorry guys. And then it just kicks off from there, and kind of comes back around to finish the whole story. Really, it's more straightforward, especially because I felt like the second movie was good, but there was a lot going on, and it was pretty long too. Like, there were a lot of characters and because the second movie was all the build-up to this movie. Everything is getting to this final point. And that's what this movie really is. It's the final battle. And there's a lot of action. Really can't, I can't say that the action wasn't well done, bad. There's a lot of cool set pieces. You might feel like after a while it starts to be a little much, but I think Peter Jackson does a good job of, if the action starts to take on too much, either cutting away to something else or, just different parts of the battle to make it more interesting to watch. And the final battle between Azog and Thorin is pretty cool, and has different, you could almost say, parts to it. And it gets a little emotional towards the end, I would assume, especially if you're a really big fan of this franchise. I'm sure you cried a tear or two. Sam Watson does a good job. Thorin the guy who plays Thorin does a good job. Thorin, really, in this movie, basically goes crazy, and now that he has everything he wants, he just turns into a recluse, greedy a-hole. He gets basically taken over with madness. So that's interesting to watch. And the Bard, he becomes an even more important character in this film, kind of leading the humans. And so the acting's all pretty good there. And the movie wasn't super long either. I do feel like Peter Jackson really wanted to, build up a lot of action, and it felt like I was kind of watching Return of the King again. You ever seen that? Kind of a similar thing in terms of style. All these movies have a look, which is why people go see them. I don't know. It was interesting. There are some parts that were a little, I felt like they were a little much. And there's a lot more. What I've noticed with the Hobbit series in general is there's a lot more CGI use than there was in the previous Lord of the Rings, which is kind of like the new Star Wars movies versus the prequels. but not as bad, obviously. But like if you watch Return of the King, or if you watch The Fellowship of the Ring compared to the Battle of Five Armies, it's like, are these the same franchise? Because the Battle of Five Armies is the prequel to the Fellowship of the Ring, right? So, right, it's how are they supposed to match up? Which is my problem with prequels today. I'm getting really tired of prequels. And I think overall, with the Hobbit franchise, that's why I don't think I will like them as much. I just like the story of The Lord of the Rings more than The Hobbit. And The Hobbit was meant to be like a little kid's book. That then Peter Jackson was like, well, I need to make a lot more money, so I'm going to blow it up into a trilogy. When it really just, it's a short little story that Tolkien wrote. And then he expanded it into a bigger story called Lord of the Rings. But anyway, Battle of Five Armies was enjoyable. It was a good ending to the prequel Hobbit trilogy and a good lead up to Lord of the Rings. So if you're in the mood for a good movie, go check it out. If you're a Lord of the Rings Hobbit fan, go check it out. It's probably my favorite of the Hobbit trilogy. But I think Return of the King is still going to be my favorite Lord of the Rings movie overall. Anyway, that is my review of The Hobbit, Battle of Five Armies. And you guys have a good December. I think there'll be one more video coming up in December. And otherwise, have a happy holidays. Get your Christmas shopping done. Alright, I'll see you later, guys. Hit that subscribe button. Share this video. Bye-bye.